Folks, today we're going to talk about President Joe Biden and the concept of radical acceptance. And I want to tell you, first off, this is not a political video. Hopefully you won't even know what any of us thinks about the political implications of any of this. We're talking more about psychology and the way we think about things. Having said that, please take a quick moment to give this video a like and make sure you are subscribed to LilyTube. We will dive in after a quick word about our sponsor.
This video is sponsored by Canyon Foot and Ankle. From simple nail care and to advanced trauma and reconstructive care, their podiatrists have the training and skills needed to resolve even the most complex cases. Treat your feet to the exceptional care they deserve. We are single life and relationship coaches, and we are using President Biden and his journey in the White House as a political figure to teach an important concept that can be applied to many facets of life.
You know, when I was a kid growing up in the 1970s, one of my favorite professional athletes was quarterback Joe Namath, who piloted the New York Jets to a victory in Super Bowl III. I heard him give an interview once, many years later, about what was the hardest moment in his athletic career. I mean, he had numerous knee surgeries and all kinds of stuff, and he said, it was the moment I realized I couldn't do it anymore. And that was when he retired. Now, having said that, George Foreman was a heavyweight champion back in the 1970s who won his title from Joe Frazier, and then a couple years later lost it to Muhammad Ali. And after a loss to Jimmy Young, a few fights later, when he realized he wasn't going to be back on the comeback trail anytime soon, he had a spiritual experience and decided it was time to give up boxing and turn his life to preaching the gospel. And he became an ordained minister in a church called the Church of the Lord Jesus Christ, and he preached every Sunday, and he raised money for his ministry and all of that. Well, fast forward 10 years, when he was 38 years old, he decided to start a new boxing career to raise money to save his youth center. And it was very successful. Now, there were other athletes that thought, hey, if George can do it, I can do it. Jerry Quarry, another boxer from that era, came back, and it basically got him killed. And Mark Spitz tried to come back, found out he couldn't swim even with the top 20 athletes in his sport. George was different for a variety of reasons that don't matter to this video. What we want to say is President Biden demonstrated in his debate with President Trump that he was deteriorating rapidly in his cognitive ability, and that the man holding the nuclear launch codes in his hands wasn't always competent to think things through the way that we might hope. Ultimately, President Biden had to be convinced by some pretty powerful people surrounding him he couldn't do it anymore, that it was time to hang things up. Radical acceptance by someone like Joe Namath, who's always been considered to be a great athlete or whatever pursuit you're in, radical acceptance that I'm not physically what I once was, can be a hard thing. But when we radically accept, when it's time to give that up, we can start to see doors opening in front of us, and we can start to see the other things that await us when we let go of the thing that it's time to let go of.
And we've had a lot of clients have to do that after divorces.
Right? It could be in any area of your life, relationships, your profession. We have losses in all kinds of things.
On July 24th, 2024 at 8 p.m., Biden gave the speech he never wanted to give. This is what he said. My fellow Americans, I'm speaking to you tonight behind the resolute desk in the Oval Office. In this sacred space, I'm surrounded by portraits of extraordinary American presidents. I revere this office, but I love my country more. It's been the honor of my life to serve you as your president. But in defense of democracy, which is at stake, I think it's more important than any title. I draw strength and find joy in working for the American people. But this sacred task of perfecting our union is not about me. It's about you, your families, your futures. When you elected me to this office, I promised to always level with you, to tell you the truth. And the truth is, nothing can come in the way of saving our democracy. That includes personal ambition. So I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation. That's the best way to unite our nation.
George Clooney had something to say about President Biden's decision to drop out of the race, too.
The person who should be applauded is the president who did the most selfless thing that anybody's done since George Washington. And that's true.
George praises President Biden for doing the most selfless thing by dropping out of the race. And he continues with this.
It's very hard to let go of power. You know, we know that. We've seen it all around the world. And for someone to say, I think there's a better way forward, that's all the credit goes to him.
Yes, it is hard to let go of power, especially when we've worked our whole life for best laid plans. All of us are going to have moments when things do not go as we hoped, and we can fight against reality, or we can radically accept it and make wise decisions according to the truth of the situation at hand. We coach singles all the time who have the painful reality of accepting the end of a marriage. It's not easy, but having been through it ourselves, we know that acceptance is the fastest way to healing and being able to move on with your life.
You know, Cathy, one thing I'd like to say about radical acceptance is it can be hard for not only the person that's going through something, but people around them. And I wondered sometimes, in this whole process, why didn't the people around President Biden, his family, his closest advisors, sit down and tell him the truth and say, you can't do this anymore. You need to let go of it. Before, they spent millions of dollars on elections trying to get him all these delegates. And I think maybe part of the answer to that is nobody wanted to see it. Nobody wanted to admit it. He had his moments when he seemed more like his old self. And I think that's a hard thing for us as we struggle to accept certain passages in our own lives.
And we end up making poor, unwise decisions when we aren't willing to see the truth.
So radical acceptance is really important. The sooner we accept something that we can't change, the sooner we're going to start to heal and feel better.
We would love for you to share your thoughts about radical acceptance and hard truths. We want to hear everything you have to say about that. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more elevating content. Until next time, remember,
it's always a great time for more love in your life.
Thanks for joining us for another week on LilyTube. If you enjoy what you see, support us by liking, commenting, and sharing your favorite videos with others who could benefit.
As single life and relationship coaches, our mission is to help single adults intentionally heal from loss to create a happy life and healthy relationships. Keep coming back and we'll keep you encouraged. Each week, we provide new and refreshing perspectives on the challenges and opportunities of mid-single life.
If you'd like to immerse yourself deeper into your own personal development and relationship journey, visit our website at loveinlateryears.com for even more resources. Don't take on divorce recovery and other relationship loss and single life alone. We are here for you.